Thank you, Coach. I'm not this. I'm not very good at this, and I apologize. Actually, I'm horrible, but I thought about it. And have you ever seen Brian Olson on a golf course? Yeah, that's horrible. But I can plow through this, so we'll get through this. Plus, I'll try to keep this short. I'm very honored to be inducted this year's Hall of Fame class. All the inductees are very deserving of this. You look at everyone that's got in the Hall of Fame, everyone deserves to be in this. It's unbelievable. Also want to thank the committee for what they've done. All the hours of organization, putting this together. Tony, Fishman, I mean, you guys rock, and you guys always knock it out of the park. There are so many people that I need to thank, so if I forgot someone, I apologize, but they know who they are. First and foremost, I want to thank my mom and dad with their support. It didn't matter if I needed new shoes. It didn't matter if I needed new rackets. If you didn't know me, I was very competitive. I'd go through tennis rackets. Concrete and tennis rackets do not work very well together. I'd come home and Dad would look at my racket and go, yeah, Dad, I did it again. But yes, also all the tourneys they took me to and everything, thank you, Mom and Dad. I also want to thank my family who came here to support me tonight and then all my career. My sister Pat, my brother Rob, and I'm going to read this. I owe all my athletic ability to them. I heard it all those years. It wasn't me, it was them. My brother-in-law, Dan, Nancy, and of course my wife Carly and my boys, Caleb, Case, and Carson. You guys made me for what I am today. As I look back, I loved being a Main Streeter. The hours of hard work, in a way, was not hard work because it's something I loved. Didn't matter the sport, football, basketball, tennis, baseball, golf. It was always a big part of my life and the friends I got to share that with. Football with me was being with friends. Gary Peters was my QB, my best friend. He was inducted 2 years ago. I'm sorry, great kid. And also my line. You think about, I couldn't do it myself. My line always gave us the extra 1 or 2 seconds. I don't know what it was. Always gave us that extra line. Coach Olson, Coach Shabluski, Barry Walker. I mean, all my junior high coaches, Phil Du Bois, OB. If you look at the Hall of Fame nowadays, all those guys are going to be in there, because they made us great people. And I'm very proud of that. 2 games that were highlighted in my senior year was the Painesville game. We were down 12-0 with 2 minutes left, and we ended up, I scored 2 touchdowns in that 2 minutes and got the one in overtime. And then the Montevideo game. So we barely squeaked in at number 8, and the number 1 team was Montevideo, undefeated. They were in the top 5 in the state. We beat them 42-7, first round of playoffs. So yeah, it was a good day. Basketball, probably the sport I put the most time in. It was just my time. I used to go over to school, and like Brian said, I would knock on the custodian's door at 7 o'clock at night. I'd sit there and knock until Leonard Orth or whatever would come let me in. I'd go flip on one light, the radio on, and I'd shoot baskets for 2 or 3 hours, 4 nights a week. And that's what I did. Also, Mr. Tretna, when he was coaching the girls, I was like this. I would go, he'd let me shoot on the side. He'd even put me in once in a while, which was pretty interesting. But, I was 8th grade, and you got all these girls that are up this, But those are the coaches that you love. John Rasmussen, Shuey, Mr. Borgman, Oberg, all those guys helped me. Tennis. I think I was the only person ever to have a snowblower in the tennis court. Honestly, my dad wheeled it over, and we were blowing snow out of the tennis court in the spring, just so that we could get out earlier in the court. A huge thank you to Coach Jarvie. He's been my coach since 7th grade. If I didn't have a hitting partner, he was always there. The time we spent at practices, the state tournaments, all the road trips, we developed a great friendship. with him and his wife, Julie. And, okay, you did beat me in 8th grade. You did beat me in 8th grade, but I still remember it. Okay, to close, again, thank you everyone for this honor, and thank you for letting me be a streeter. Thanks.
Very nice.
All right, another new member of the Sauk Center Hall of Fame, and when you talk about an athlete, it's this guy, Chris Essler. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you, Mark?
Man, it's been a long time.
30-some years.
I guess. Life goes on,
We
right?
haven't changed, though. We still look the same.
Okay. Can you run like you used to?
No, not even close.
No, either can I. Because you could go out there. There's no doubt about that. We'll get into that, okay? But tell us about your immediate family, first of all, okay?
I am married to my wife, Carly, and we have 3 boys, Caleb, Casey, and Carson. We live in Cloquet. I work at Upper Lake Foods. I've been there for about 6 years and enjoying life.
Good. How old are the kids?
21, going to be 19, going to be 18.
Wow. Did you have some athletes there?
I had 1 soccer player. Very good soccer player.
Is that right? Soccer? How did you adapt to that?
I don't know. It was like one of those things. When I grew up, my dad didn't push me to do anything. You know, like he goes, you play what you want to play. And I kind of came up with that mentality, too, saying, you know what, if you want to do whatever you do, I'm not going to push you to play basketball. I'm not, kind of pained me a little bit. But, it was one of those things where you do what you want to do. If you love it, go for it.
I've got kind of a theme going here with the athletes about just your family, just the way you grew up, as you mentioned. Who are your mom and dad?
Bob and Gloria Essler.
Okay, and so now maybe you've had kids and you have a different perspective of back when you were a kid, you had your attitude that way. But
yes.
How do you look back at how your mom and dad handled you and the influence they had with you?
Oh, they're a huge influence. I thought about it, and, you think about being a parent now compared to then. You think all the number of shoes that you had to buy, all the tennis rackets you had to buy. And I had a little temper back in my day, so I broke a few rackets, and buying a tennis racket now is like buying a hockey stick. They're expensive.
Yep.
And I just wanted to teach my kids, if what you want to do, you can do. I'm not going to push, and my mom and dad didn't do that either, but they're always supportive, and that's what I wanted to be.
So in high school then, just take us through what were you involved in?
Okay, I was in football, basketball, and tennis. I did summers, baseball, played a lot of golf, did a lot of things.
So go through what you did for tennis, just to kind of brag about yourself a little bit here.
Tennis I started. I graduated, but I lettered since 7th grade. 8th grade, about half a year, I started at number 1 singles. Sophomore year, I got to the state tournament, got 3rd. Junior year, I was in 4th in state, and senior I lost first round of state. So it got worse every year, but it was enjoyment being there. I mean, Bruce Jarvie was a huge influence on me, and it always came to that decision what I wanted to do, if I wanted to play baseball or if I wanted to play tennis. It always came, but I think I did it for myself, and I did it for Mr. Jarvie. He was such a huge influence on me.
I think back to those days, too. You graduated in 89.
Yep.
The baseball team wins the state in 82, so you're like, what, about 10?
Yep.
Okay.
I was a bat boy.
Oh, yeah?
My brother, they won the state tournament in 82.
So how did you not play baseball?
I don't know. I played baseball all the way through, VFW, Legion. I remember I was in 7th and 8th grade. Donnie Peschel would come to my mom and dad's and knock on the door and say, hey, can Chris come to Long Prairie and play baseball? I was in 7th grade, and this was Legion. And my mom was like, it's up to you, Chris. I said, yeah, I'll go. And then, you think, okay, let's put him out in right field, hide him. No, they put me at third base.
And the ball found you.
And the ball found me, yep.
So
it was enjoyment. I played a lot. I did a lot of sports. I didn't work a ton, so it was like Todd Tretna, who's here tonight. We golfed 36, 48 holes every day, Monday through Friday during the summer, and then I did sports at night. Basketball, I'd go knock on the custodial's door until they let me in the middle of winter. I turn on one light, turn on the radio, and I'd shoot baskets. 3 nights, 4 nights a week.
because you could shoot it. Now, one thing, though, is you look at your career total of points, you didn't always have the three-point line, did you?
My junior year was the first time with three-point line.
Yeah. So probably a lot of points left out on the court, huh?
Yes, there was. It was funny because when that first three-point line came out, John Kane and I were like looking at each other and say, I'm going to get it. No, I'm going to get it. So, yeah, that was the first experience of the three-point line. Even though I did shoot before that, a lot of points there was only 2, But shoot at 25 feet.
Yeah, as you see that line now, because I can recall, you could shoot from way out. Did you even realize how far out you were sometimes?
I did not. Sometimes I go for a jump shot and go, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
It was 30 feet. Sometimes I had to try to force it up there, but some bad shots, but try not to.
Say, I want to get back to that, but I wanted to talk about tennis and bring up this one point. Correct me if I'm wrong. When you played tennis, were you more or less ambidextrous?
I was.
Yeah.
I would play left-handed and right-handed. What I did was weird. I got a lot of crap for it. I'd have a two-handed forehand and a two-handed cross-handed backhand. Disadvantage, I can't reach as bad, but I was more consistent. Mm-hmm. Bruce Jarvie is the one that said, I probably got it that way from hitting against a garage door. Heavier racket, why not use two hands, But, it was one of those things where it's tough. I mean, it was tough watching everyone else, look more consistent than I was. But I think my athletic ability is what got me to where I was.
So let's touch on football. You also have a record in football. Describe yourself as a football player.
Okay. I was a wide receiver for 2-year starter. My best friend, Gary Peters, was my quarterback, who was inducted 2 years ago. We just had a chemistry. Gary and I, Ole would call a play, and Gary knew if I'd cut it off or if I'd go long or break it off, go a different way. We just had that chemistry. It was one of those things where after practice every night, him and I would sit out there for an hour by ourselves. Everyone else is gone, and we'd run plays. And it showed. I mean, it really did help.
Well, I got to ask you, too, as you bring up Ryan Olson now, he's a run-first guy. And
yes.
Passing, what are we doing here?
Exactly. Gary's thrown it 25, 30 times a game,
Yep.
It was just one of those things. But then they also put me in the backfield once in a while if I needed to be. A lot of reverses, a lot of screen passes, a lot of quick passes. So it was almost like a run. They call Essler quick pass. Go up to the line, step back 1 foot, throw it to me, go. I just didn't have a blocker out in front of me. Mm-hmm. Try to beat him with my feet.
I guess I'm almost sorry that I'm bringing this up, but I got to ask you, how much do you miss that guy, Gary Peters?
Gary? Yeah. I miss him a ton. It's one of those things in life I tell people, you're best friends all the way through. You go your separate ways. You talk every once in a while, and then they're gone. And then you don't realize what you missed. You keep those relationships, that you have in college and stuff, stay close to people, and I really do miss Gary.
Well, I guess, again, I've asked others when Coach Bergman called you and said, hey, I got some news for you here. What was your reaction to that?
I saw him calling, and I kind of knew what it was.
Oh, really?
It was one of those things where I was honored. It's an honor to be a streeter in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're in it, and you well-deserved it, and all those ones before me, well-deserved. Every one of them.
Well, and I will say you too, because man, it was like there was nothing you couldn't do, and you did it well.
Yes.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Yes, you too.
All right.
Okay.
That is Chris Essler.